All right, so our project was working with instant MLB instant replay data, and kind of some of the goals that we had were to estimate like the number of runs that a team can gain by challenging plays, since this is kind of like a relatively new thing in the overall like scheme of like baseball history. So yeah, I guess we'll start with the first page, which is the challenges table.
So we have a data set of all of the challenges from 2014 when challenges were introduced into baseball to 2016, which is where we kind of lost access to be able to see a lot of the details that we wanted to about the individual challenges and plays that were made. But some of the key aspects are we can see who's challenging the plays and who challenged, and you can filter by all of them. A key distinction to include is that umpire is one of the challenging teams that's listed, just because umpires do have the ability to themselves say that they need to go and review a play. Um, and then it includes the type of challenge, which you can also filter by. So the one that we're probably going to be looking at most is the close plays at first, because we were able to find some really interesting analytics about that and run expectancy, things like that. You can also see players, who's pitching, who's batting. There's not a lot of fielding information about the two teams, but we also were able to include inning and whether the play was overturned or not, which again comes into play pretty big in the run expectancy part that Jericho is going to give some insight on.
Thanks, Isaiah. So yeah, the biggest insights, unfortunately, with this data set, with a lot of these different types of challenges, it was difficult to sort of determine a catch-all way to determine run expectancy and sort of the base out states. But fortunately, for specifically close plays at first that were overturned, we were able to get some really good insights on these and actually be able to visualize them. For instance, we both were able to determine whether if the defensive team was challenging or if the offensive team was challenging. So, for instance, in this play here, we see Adam Jones, who is a longtime Baltimore Oriole, was the one who was challenged, and the Yankees, being on defense, were the challenging team. And here, if we hit this view button, we're actually able to see the before what the base out state would be without the challenge and what it is with the challenge. And given that the Yankees were the ones that benefited from this, their change in run expectancy was a 0.21 in the Yankees' favor. As you can see, we also have these variables here, just sort of descriptive stuff that tells us different information. On the other hand, we also have the other way when a player is called out at first and then the offensive team challenges. And we have a good example of that here with Jose Ramirez for the Cleveland baseball team. And as you see, without challenging, there's nobody out, two outs, as he was originally called out at first. And with the challenge, he is runner at first with one out, and he is safe. Change in run expectancy for that is 0.4. Now, a quick caveat with this is that given the nature of creating this Shiny app, from 2014 to 2016, it is all kind of gathered together in one run expectancy matrix. We don't have a different one for each year, but fortunately, the run environments for each of these years is pretty similar given how close they are. Also, a nice thing that we were able to do with this is be able to determine that this view button here is only available for plays that we can actually look at, plays that work to our advantage with this. It makes things a lot easier for us, just not having weird errors thrown up. Finally, we have some summary statistics here, and I'll pass it to Maanas on that one.
Yeah, so the summary statistics page is also controlled by that like filter on the main page, and there's a few different like statistics that we have. The first of which is just like the general like a pie chart of the number of overturned calls between for the given like data that's being filtered right now. Another chart that we had, which we found pretty interesting, was like how often like certain types of plays get overturned. So as you can see, each of the different like types of plays have pretty like differing like success rates in terms of like how often they're overturned. And then the final thing that we have on the bottom is like a challenge success rate by year. Just seeing like I guess this since this like the first couple years of the challenge being implemented, you can see like across the first 3 years, there was like a general improvement across the league in terms of the success rate of how often teams were able to like successfully challenge.
And then, yeah, same thing here. We can also filter by team or uh, by type of challenge, and that gives us interesting um, insights for individual teams as well. So you can see the Diamondbacks have a very high overturn percentage for close plays at first in this time period. So a lot of interesting insights with this. And yeah, I think that's about what we got. You guys got anything else?
No, should do it.
All right. Thank you so much for this semester, Professor Eck. It's been a lot of fun. I hope you enjoyed our presentation. And yeah, cheers.